Hello and welcome to coverage of Grand Prix Washington, D.C. Marshall Sutcliffe in the booth with Ben Stark. BBD, Brian Brown on the left there at 11-2, facing down Alex Majleton, also at 11-2 here, and we're in the 14th round. We're down the stretch here, Ben.
Elimination match. Almost no chance that a 12-3 will make the top 8, but a 13-2 is almost a shoo-in.
All right, so this is a big one here, and an interesting start from BBD. 2 Seder hoplites. He's going to need a way to improve those to really get Alex Majleton's life total down in big chunks. Right now they're not doing a ton of work, though. Alex hasn't played a spell yet.
No, and I'm not a huge fan of the hoplite for this reason. You kind of have to do something first to get them into a real creature. Like, I agree with casting this Coordinated Assault, but I would probably rather not have Seder hoplites so that I had to spend a trick just to turn them into a normal-sized creature. Right,
which is what he did, and you know, he did it in the most efficient way he could by targeting 2 with 1 spell, but that's as good as it gets.
Right.
And it's still kind of not great. Like, if Alex were to play, say, a 2-3 here, it could really thwart the plans of BBD. Meanwhile, Alex does not play a 2-3 here. In fact, he doesn't even play a land. And there's a 5-2 follow-up, and Alex plays his 4th land and plays nothing. What are we thinking? Hippocamp, maybe some sudden storm action here?
I mean, I don't know what Alex's hand is.
He's got to have something, right?
Yeah, on the draw, you're really not trying to keep hands where you don't do anything until turn 4. And
no,
even if he does something, right, and even if he does something here, he didn't do anything until turn 4. So all in all, I mean, probably not a great hand by Alex. Maybe if he's really going to explode on turn 5.
Sure.
You know, like I'll say something like that, and then he could untap and play Profit into something else, you know what I mean?
Right. But it's just so sketchy, especially when your opponent plays the hoplite. His heart must have just sank. Now, he does get to block with the Cloak Siren here, but he's down to 5. Thankfully for him, though, Brian Bronduin didn't do anything. He played his land and just said go. I mean, that could have been disastrous if he had any type of 4 or 5 drop. Here's another Cloak Siren for Majleton, and he's looking to trade. And the trade happens. He drops down to 3. He's still going to need to find something. And BBD seems to be flooding out here at just the wrong time.
Yeah, he's just trying to stabilize.
And Majleton passes the turn back again. Does he have a 3rd flash creature here? BBD doesn't really have a choice other than to attack here.
Yeah, I mean, he might be thinking about whether to enchant his guy with something or something like that.
Would make it lethal.
Right, but Majleton is very likely to have a bounce or something. So this is exactly what he was thinking about.
It's Fearsome Temper, and it does create a lethal attacker.
And let's see if Majleton has
and
a bounce.
That's it.
No.
So it looks like Alex's deck was a little slow. He missed a land drop, and he got punished to the max.
And those spots are interesting, you know, because there's a lot of upside and downside. If he does bounce it, you'd have greatly rather just held the temper, because if you had attacked, and he would probably bounce it anyway, and if he didn't, he'd go to 1. But on the other hand, he might have had a flash blocker or something like that that would have traded off your last creature, the hoplite. You'd have no way to finish him off, versus the temper, you know, wins the game. You make the flash blocker unable to block.
Right, that is interesting, and you, of course, always want to deny those draw steps as much as possible. World Championships, these are the players that are locked in. We've got our previous world champ, Shahar Shenhar. We've also got our 2013 World Magic Cup captain winner, so of the winning team, that was Raph Levy from France. PT Theros, PT Born of the Gods, and PT Journey to Nyx champions, Jeremy Dezani, Sean McLaren, and Patrick Chapin, all are locked. We also have our MOX champion, our Magic Online Championship champion, that's Lars Dom. Those guys will all be there. We've also got our Player of the Year and our Rookie of the Year, Reed Duke. Player of the Year currently. Now, these ones are not locked in. This is if the season were to end today. Of course, it doesn't end today. It ends in a little over a month at Pro Tour Magic 2015, and that's where these things will be set in stone.
I think we should just end it today.
You just want to end it today?
I'm in like the next to last spot or something
We're
like
about
that.
2 slides away from finding out why you would want to do that. Yeah, you want to do it before or after
doesn't matter. Doesn't
wins.
matter to me either way. Just end it now before people pass me in the next Pro Tour and I miss out on the World Championship.
So here's again, this is a if this season ended now scenario for the APAC region. We would have Li Shitian and Nam Sung Wook. In Europe, Jeremy Dezani. He's got an asterisk. He's all over the board here.
Yeah.
Stanislav Sivka as well. Japan has Kentaro Yamamoto and Yuya Watanabe. I thought that was interesting. We often see Shuhei Nakamura and Yuya Watanabe.
And he's in 3rd right now, I believe, Shuhei.
He is, but Kentaro's got that slot currently. Latin America, Willie Adel, potentially in the Hall of Fame discussion this year. Paulo Vitor Damaderosa, he was in the Hall of Fame discussion, but not for long because he got voted right in.
9 Pro Tour top 8s.
Yeah, that's all it took. North America, Reed Duke, again, out in front for Player of the Year. and his good friend Owen Turtenwald. Now, this is the one that we were just talking about. These are the at-large bids. This is the list to keep an eye on when we go into into Pro Tour Match 2015. Josh Utter-Layton, Tom Martell, Sam Black, Paul Rietzel, Josh McLean, Alexander Hayne, and this guy, Ben Stark. If it ended right now, you would have a seat. As it stands, you know there's going to be some shaking up. You've got some pressure on you to finish well.
You see those bottom three slots, McLean, me, and Hayne?
Yeah.
I believe we all have 44.
All tied up?
Yeah, at 44. So if anyone earns any points, they can pass us. And, I mean, William Jensen is looking to pass us in this tournament. He is looking very live for top 8, and he's on 43 right now. He only gets 1 point for a top 4 and no points for a top 8.
Yeah.
But if he can make it to the semis, he'll tie us, and he has the tiebreaker. So, I mean, hanging on by a thread right now.
One other thing I want to find out is, isn't Huey going for the record?
Yes.
Like, if he gets his 8th top 8, and he will take that record from Owen Turtenwald, like, what could be sweeter than that?
Yeah, well, kind of bittersweet. I mean, they're best friends,
No,
teammates.
That's why it's better.
Yeah, I guess.
You never get to let him forget. I mean, he rooted him on, I'm sure, when he was doing it, if he knew him at the time.
Yeah, but I mean, either way, Owen's going to be sad to lose that record. I mean, he's still going to be proud of his Player of the Year season, but holding a record like that is pretty cool.
It would be pretty cool, yeah.
Yeah, it would be. It's not like I would know, but.
Right. So here's another stumbling land situation here for Alex. Not a great start for BBD either, though. It looks like he's just got a turn 3 Traveling Philosopher, which he must have just drawn here.
Seems like a kind of dicey keep by Alex.
Yeah, these decks are not amazing here so far. Alex has had a hard time deploying his cards. I think he's got a Nyxborn Triton here, though, that he's considering dropping.
Well, if he doesn't have anything else to drop, you'd almost definitely drop it.
Right.
But, I mean, I'm not sure. Like, I'm not big on keeping a 2-mana hand on the play with no 2-drop.
Right.
I mean, once you miss once or twice, you're at such a big disadvantage because you're still down that card on your turn because you're on the play, and you have no pressure on them. I mean, I understand keeping a 2-laner on the play with, say, 2-2-drops, but with nothing you can cast, I don't know, I'd probably mull it. I can't see I can't see Alex's whole hand, and it's if he has like a 3-mana bomber in his hand or something.
Sure.
But in general, I would mull a 2-laner on the play with nothing I can cast.
All right, so he decides on Satyr Hedonist, which ultimately trades off for the Philosopher, but BBD has a nice follow-up. He's got Kragma Butcher there.
I like that guy a lot.
I do too. Very solid. Now, here's an Nyxborn Triton, but he's got a friend. No, it's not a friend. It is a nice card, though, for Alex. Is a little clunky at this point, but he can at least get his mana going with the Font of Fertility there.
Yeah, but he's going to end up pretty far on his back foot.
He is. He gets the block this time. Chances his Nyxborn Triton survive are not super high, but whether it does or it doesn't, that Butcher is going to be active and start being a 4-2.
And it looks like what Brian is thinking about is whether to Alseed up this Kragma Butcher, because it's going to make it dealing damage now, but it's never going to tap. So
yeah.
Bonus.
So no Inspired ever.
And if I can see his hand correctly, I don't necessarily like this play. It looks like he has the 4-mana 5/2 Cyclops in his hand.
Okay. Cyclops of One-Eyed Path.
Yeah, he may not. I may just, we're trying to see his hand.
No, he does. I saw it, yeah.
So, I mean, that's such a better target for Alseed, and the Butcher would have been able to attack and turn into a 4/3, which is already going to threaten the Triton's ability to block it next turn. So if it were me, I would probably have dropped the Cyclops of One-Eyed Pass rather than put the Alseed on the Butcher there.
Okay.
I would have attacked, let them bounce, and then just drop the Cyclops.
All right, so a nice turn here for Alex. So he finds a land. He also gets pinned to the earth to basically nullify that Butcher, and he's managed to leave up 2 mana so he can crack that Font of Fertility and keep the land drops flowing for himself here.
I don't know about everybody at home, but I like it better when they kind of show us their hand so we can kind of think about what they're thinking about and kind of map out their play.
Hey, welcome to my world, buddy.
Yeah. I mean, I can't see Alex's hand at all. He's just completely protecting it. Bronduin, I thought that was a God's Willing, but I didn't want to say because I wasn't 100% sure.
All right, we get a little bit of a view here. I see that he's got a Leaf Crown Dryad, Alex Magleton does. Not too bad. All right, so he used God's Willing to knock off the Pin of the Earth and also get him in for a bunch of damage. And here's a nice follow-up play there with the Cyclops. But as you mentioned before, ultimately the Nyxborn Triton can trade for that Cyclops.
Right, but he had I think he still has another Observant Alseed in hand, but either way he had Observant Alseeds in hand. So that's why I would have let the Butcher just bounce off the Triton the previous turn and play the Cyclops. Because then Alex is just going to play something or get ready to sack the Font or whatever because he thinks he can trade the Triton for the Cyclops. Meanwhile, then you drop Alseed on the Cyclops and you're hitting for 7.
Yeah,
your Butcher's a 4/3,
too.
so the Triton can't stop that either. So it's a really good situation for you if you drop the Cyclops the previous turn.
Okay.
This isn't a bad situation for you, but you'd rather have your Alcide on that Cyclops and the Butcher being a 4/3 anyway,
right.
because if it was tapping, it would have the same power that it has with the Alcide on it.
Exactly.
So I think you do a little bit more in this game by dropping the Cyclops last turn and then putting the Alcide on the Cyclops instead of on the Butcher.
All right, so Alex has decided just to pass the turn back here. I don't know what it is that he plans on playing, because the cards that I saw, does he have a Faded Infatuation in his hand?
I don't know. We know he has all those flash creatures. He played 2 Cloak Sirens last game.
Yeah, that can't be what that. I can't.
That looks like a
Troma. A Tromocratus?
Yeah,
is that what that is? Oh, yeah, I think you might be right. He's got to have a flash something here, though, because I saw that he had the Leaf Crown Dryad. Oh, weird. Oppressive Raise. Oppressive Raise really shines in an aggressive deck. Otherwise, it's not too great. But this is going to be a big tempo play, potentially. Alex Mecherson also has Colossal Heroics in his hand.
Yeah, that was a good play, because it looks like Alex had to have things to do here with 5 lands, exactly. and he's already missed land drops, so you know he's got all spells in hand.
All right, he's going to pay for the privilege of blocking, and I think he's going to get kind of destroyed here, potentially.
Potentially, but this is actually almost a 2. It is a 2-for-1. He's
oh, yeah.
BBD is trading Rise to the Challenge and Oppressive Raise for Nyxborn Triton.
That's right, and basically just a tempo hit on Alex. So Alex is okay with that. Doesn't actually have anything else to do on end step here, and falls down to 8. So getting a little hot under the collar, but it feels like he could stabilize if he can find the right card here.
Yeah, it looks like he's just a little bit too far behind because he missed those drops.
Right. Pretty brutal.
And I mean, I think Brian Brundwin has a second Oppressive Raise in hand, so more than likely that's going to do Alex in.
Okay. Now, one play that Alex has available here is he can play his Leaf Crown Dryad by itself, and then he can time defeat it against the Cyclops to get it off the table and gain him some life, but it does not take care of the Kragma Butcher problem that he's got looming over there, so he would need to find something after that.
And ironically, that might be the only play that could go on to win him this game. I don't think it's the right play. I would be really surprised if he did it. I mean, you can get blown out by a pump spell, and I mean, even though you can't really beat a pump spell anyway, it just like doesn't accomplish much against much. It just happens to be good because Brian Brundwin has a second Oppressive Raise in hand.
Right.
In general, I mean, you just figure your Leaf Crown Dryad can block the Cyclops anyway.
The Cyclops,
yeah, so why are you time defeating it to gain 3 life?
Exactly.
But I mean, maybe he's going to do it. I don't know. I hope he does. It'll make this game more interesting.
I mean, I guess if he maps out the next couple of turns and there's just 0 chance that he gets to cast that time to feed this game otherwise, then he might do it. I mean, it's just a 3 life point swing. And he's going to say no.
I mean, I'm not really sure what Alex did there, because I mean, I don't think he has anything else to play. So, I mean, he has a Colossal Heroics, but that's not going to change anything on board here.
He's got a Fleet Feather Cockatrice as well.
Right, so I don't really see the upside of using only 2 mana this turn. It played around second Oppressive Raise, but unless he, you know, knows Brian Brundwin has 5 Oppressive Raise or something.
Okay. All right, so he's going to use the Colossal Heroics to 2-for-1 himself, one way or another. In this case, it was with the pump
I mean,
spell.
That was definitely the right play given the circumstances.
Had to do it.
But
he also falls down to 4, though.
Yeah, if it were me, I would have probably just cast the Acolyte on Alex's last turn, because I'm not really trying to beat anything at this point anyway.
Okay.
And then, well, no, I guess you can't do that because you have to chump with it. No, never mind. Alex's play was fine. It's a 1-4, not a 1-5, right?
It's a 1-4.
Yeah, never mind.
All right, here's Nyxborn Rollicker. Flame Speakers, Will.
But basically, this game is over.
Basically, I mean, the Cockatrice would have come down and kept him alive for maybe 1 more turn, but he actually created 2 lethal threats there, and that's going to do it. And it looks like Alex is actually saying, you know, I could have done that, and then I play around you bestowing and hitting me for more or whatever.
The problem with that play, though, is he can just bestow on the other creature and hit him for 6.
Totally.
That still has to be dealt with, and it's giant. I mean, I don't think you're really trying to beat anything at that point. I think you're just trying to claw out of this if they have nothing.
Yeah, I think Alex is talking about this play right now. You can see he's saying, well, look, I could have done that, I could have done this. Things could have gone better for me. But BBD's still alive here. He's going to improve to 12-2.